third grade. What's going on? What's up? I hope that you're having a lovely Friday wherever you're at. Today, we are going to have a lesson on something called the Beatitudes. So, let's back up for a second here. Let's back up. Last time, what did we talk about? We talked about how Jesus teaches us how to pray. So that was the main topic last time. And this time, what we're going to talk about, not only did Jesus teach us how to pray, he also teaches us how to act. And that's what the Beatitudes are. The Beatitudes are in the Bible, and there are 8 Beatitudes, and each one is a different way that we should be living our life. So the Beatitudes are also known as, you could call them the best attitudes. So the Beatitudes are the best attitudes that we can have in order to live our life as a Catholic Christian or a Christian. So living out these Beatitudes will help us to be happy on earth and then also happy in heaven with God eventually one day. So today there are 8 Beatitudes. Today we're going to go over the first 2. Now that I've explained that, let's get started. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. Alrighty. So, the first Beatitude goes like this. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, what I want you guys to notice is that every Beatitude starts out with this word. It starts out with the word blessed. Now, blessed, what it means, which I'm sure you guys sort of know, but what it means is holy. And the reason that all of the Beatitudes start with the word blessed or holy is because if we follow these Beatitudes, if we follow these attitudes, then we will become holy. We will become like God. So the Beatitudes will make us like God, because when we're holy, we're like God. So, blessed, so that's the first thing I wanted to show you guys, was the word blessed. Second thing, blessed are the poor in spirit. Let's underline that because it's kind of an interesting phrase. So, the poor in spirit. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Poor in spirit. What do you think that means? You guys might have an idea. You might be able to guess what that kind of means. Someone who is poor in spirit is someone who knows that even though they have great things like the toys, clothes, money, computers, whatever, even though you have good things, God still comes first in your life. So even though those things are really good, and it's good that you have them, it's more important to love God. And a person who is poor in spirit always puts God first and remembers that it's more important to put God first rather than the toys and all those things. So blessed are the poor in spirit, those who put God first above everything else in their life. Then it says, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now that kind of means 2 things. So when it says that theirs is the kingdom of heaven, it means that not only that person one day will get to share in God's life in heaven. So if you act this way, one day you'll be able to live with God in heaven, and then also you'll get to share in God's life on earth. So that means that following this attitude, always being poor in spirit, you'll be able to share in God's love on earth and his life, his grace. You'll have God's grace in your life. So that's what the first Beatitude means. Alrighty, so now we need to think of some examples of how to actually be poor in spirit. So how can we actually live this out? So I've got a few examples for you guys. First first way to show that we can put God first is by thanking God for everything He has given us. Okay, so that's a great way, and this goes in with how we can pray. That is a great way to practice being poor in spirit, is by thanking God for everything that He's given us. So, your toys, you can thank God for your toys, or your computer games, or whatever might be your kind of toys, Toys, your food, your house, your clothing. If there's anything else you could add to this list, absolutely. We can thank God for all those beautiful things that He's given us. So these are just some starter examples. Now, another thing that we can do to practice being poor in spirit is by, this is gonna sound a little bit, let's see. So, another way that we can do it is by sharing what we have with others. So, you've got so many nice toys, or whatever, nice toys. And you can always share that with your friends, share that with your family. That's the way that we can show God we put Him first. We want to share our things with other people, give other people joy, and not hold on to our things like, no, you can't have it, because you're more attached to it. But sharing it with others, and the last way that I want to talk about of how we can practice this is and this one's tough. This one can be tough. It's tough for me still. But the last one is not being jealous. Yeah. So sometimes, other people have really nice things, and it's really easy to become jealous of them, or to see the good things other people have and just be like, oh, if I had that thing, I would be happy. But when we practice being poor in spirit, we thank God for the things that He gave us. And so instead of being like, oh, I wish I had your thing, instead being like, wow, I'm grateful that you have that. I'm glad you have that thing. And I'm glad God gave me what He gave me. I'm glad. So these are the 3 ways. These are some ways. There are more ways. These are some ways that we can practice being poor in spirit. Now, what I want you guys to do, so what I would like you to do, pause the video right at this point. Pause it. And I would like you to draw me a detailed picture. I would like a detailed picture of yourself being poor in spirit. So draw me a picture of yourself being poor in spirit. Maybe you could use one of these examples. You could use an example you've come up with yourself. Great. Okay, now on to Beatitude number 2. Alrighty, so second Beatitude goes like this. Blessed, there's that word blessed again. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Okay, So, blessed, like I said before, blessed means holy. Wow. Okay, blessed means holy. Holy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Well, what does it mean to mourn? I don't know. I suppose that a lot of you third graders might know the meaning of this word, but when we mourn, we're sad. So to mourn means that you're sad. So what is this saying? This is saying, holy are those who mourn, who are sad, for they shall be comforted. This beatitude reminds us that whenever we feel alone or feel sad, we have to remember that God loves us, that He cares for us. And so even when we feel sad, we have to remember that God will take care of us, that He's there to bring us comfort. And that also, even when we feel alone, like we feel there's no one around us, we feel alone, we have to trust and remember that God never leaves us. He never leaves us alone. He will always be with us. So that's what this beatitude is trying to tell us. God is always with us. He will comfort us when we mourn. Alrighty, so how do we live out this beatitude? How can we live this out? Well, just as God comforts us when we are sad, when we are suffering, we can be someone who comforts other people when they are sad, when they feel alone. So what we need to think of is a few ways that we can comfort those who we know who feel sad. So what could you do? What could you do? Well, this is what I'm thinking of. So, if you want to, if you're that kind of person, you could give them a hug. You could give them a hug. Say, hey, I'm sorry you're feeling sad. Another thing that you can also do, not only hug them, but also if someone is feeling sad, listening to them. Listening to them to hear how do they feel sad. If you listen to them, then you can understand, oh, this is how that person hurts. And it's good to hear that, and it's good for them to know that someone is listening to them. So you can hug them, you can listen to them. What if you see someone who's lonely on the playground? They're by themselves. Well, you can invite them to play. Someone looks like they're lonely by themselves, comfort them, invite them to play, ask them to come with you. What else? I mean, something you can do, you can make something for someone, right? If someone is sad, you could make something for them. Whatever that might be. Maybe it's a card. Maybe it's a song. I don't know. There's a lot of different things you could do with that. So these are just some examples of how we can comfort those who are sad, how we can live out that beatitude, and therefore be more like God, since God comforts us when we're sad. All right. What I would like you guys to do right now is pause this video again, pause this video one more time, and I would like you to go and find someone in your house, someone who maybe wants a hug, ask them if they'd like a hug. Find someone in your house, maybe they want to play. Ask someone in your house if they'd like to play with you. If you don't want to do a hug, maybe you could find someone in your house who wants a high five. Tell them that they're doing a good job. So pause the video here and go do something like that. A hug, high five, maybe a handshake. spend time with your family, whatever. All right, so thank you, third grade, for tuning in to another lesson. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. So, see you then.